Welcome in, everyone, to episode 216 of the HurricaneKaz podcast. It's going to be a shorter one because we're just in a hotel room. All three of them are on one bed, and I'm comfortably on my own chair.
Yeah, we're cuddling.
Must be nice. Yeah, whatever.
We're sharing one mic, so we're going to pass it around. My voice is a little shot because, well, if you watch the grand finals, you'll know why. But anyway, how are y'all doing? Let's pass it down.
Doing good. My first Worlds, so very excited. Had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess also my first World as a competitor. I still had a good time. Let's just say that bit didn't go too hot. But, we're chilling.
But you won a couple. You won a couple games.
Yeah, there were some game wins. It wasn't
exactly
a
couple.
Yeah, exactly a couple.
I don't want to roast anyone in particular, but I feel like you won more games than some players that might have been expected to win even more, right?
Yeah,
we don't have to name names.
No, let's just say I did better than some favourites, perhaps.
Whoa!
Maybe even some of our draft picks.
A lot of our draft picks.
Maybe a lot of your draft picks.
But that's for the next bit.
Listen, we were going for golf scores, okay?
I don't know.
Anyway, we're just going to record a quick video there because Tristan cannot make it to our draft recap and Worlds recap video or episode coming out later this week/weekend, where we invite some of the previous draft co-hosts on. So, and also just fresh off of Worlds, so we could give our thoughts.
And we just thought it would be fun since we're all together to record something in person together because we never have the opportunity for something like this.
Yeah, we didn't have time to do that at NAIC. We were all too busy running around and stuff. So
I'm pretty sure I said hard no. I was like, hey, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Too bad.
No way, man. Yeah, I remember that now.
I honestly don't even remember anyone asking me anything about that. But anyway, we all got matching shirts. We got our matching merch. It did arrive, so get your own in the link down below because I linked it in every single episode.
I think I have a memory of every episode having the link. Yeah. Just I don't remember anything about the pepper or anything.
Well, fantastic because you watch that video back in case you forgot. But I don't know. Let's just go around and share people's thoughts.
Shout out to what was her name that got pictures with all of us?
Oh yeah. Deborah. So Deborah actually did come and find each and every single Battle Cats member and get a photo with them individually. So thank you very much, Deborah, for listening. We love you, appreciate you, and those photos are great.
Deborah, #1 Battle Cats fan. Sorry, Jen. You couldn't bother enough to come see us, so Deborah has usurped you.
Yeah, Jen, you just have to come to next Worlds. That's it. That's all.
Also, sorry, Squirrel Trapper, but you're no longer the biggest fan either. I will say one story about Squirrel Trapper because it's relevant to this Worlds. But it was in 2023 Yokohama. Right after Worlds ended, everyone's getting ushered out of the hallway or out of the halls. It's close, everything's closing. And some guy came up to you. He's like, "Hey, Caleb." I was like, "What's up?" And he's like, "I'm Squirrel Trapper." It's like, no, you're not. There's no way. There's no way Squirrel Trapper came all the way to Worlds in Yokohama, which Squirrel Trapper, for those that don't know, is our biggest hater. Used to just...
I don't know about he has not existed.
Hasn't had a single comment since we've been on.
I think he was Speedy's biggest hater because he kind of disappeared when Speedy stopped being the co-host.
Yeah, it was collectively probably me, Speedy, and half of Anacor's biggest hater, too. But used to leave a bunch of hate comments all the time on our YouTube. Under our comments, which is always funny because when I first saw it, I clicked on the profile and their most recent favorited video, which was a public playlist, was one of my GBL videos. So some people just want some attention. I don't know. Anyway, guy comes up to me and said, "I'm Squirrel Trapper." I was like, "No, there's no way. Who are you really?" And the guy said, "I'm Beelzeboy." And I kid you not, it was Beelzeboy, and he was the first person ever to actually introduce himself as Squirrel Trapper. And after he introduced himself as Squirrel Trapper, honestly, you can probably find that in one of our old podcasts, the one after Yokohama, I guess. I definitely mentioned it because then after that's when other people would come up to us and say that they're Squirrel Trapper because they're emulating Beelzeboy's joke.
Wait, so did he really just say "I am Beelzeboy" though? The same line?
Yeah, pretty much. I think.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
That was
his
so
line.
iconic. It was so iconic. I think he might have not known exactly what to say at first, but just the I am Beelzebub. That was great. I loved it.
Yeah. So crazy tournament events too. Who's now a world champion? I didn't want to mention that story on the broadcast because that's way too niche, and people are going to be super confused and stuff. But I did
Who's
mention
Squirrel Trapper.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how we find the true fans.
That's true. I mean, yeah. Anyway, shout out to JJ, by the way. That's a true fan. We can talk about that later. But anyway, so, but that was kind of a wild turn of events because that was the first time I met him in 2023, and then 2 years later, exactly 2 years later, he becomes a world champion.
I am Squirrel Trapper. Let's lock this in.
No. Still this. Well.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
Even if it is how it works, you would be at the earliest, like the 2028, 2029 world champion because
You messed up, bro.
there's a few other people that has already mentioned that too. To me, I think 2 at UIC that following year as well. So there's a couple of people in line ahead of you. Anyway, I'll just pass the mic around and see what people's thoughts were about Worlds and everything and Grand Finals and etc.
Yeah, I thought Worlds was a really great time. The Eternatus Max battles after the closing ceremonies was a big highlight, like a big memory that I'll keep from my whole time playing Pokemon Go. Like literally, the closing ceremonies ended and everyone was just streaming out of the venue. The first Max battle spot, there was a massive crowd. It was like 2020 or 2016 vibes. It reminded me too of like the trailers from the original Pokemon Go, like them showing like Times Square with everyone like battling the Mewtwo. It felt like that, like everyone, like hundreds of people, thousands of people grouped up to battle Eternatus. And then we had a fun group of us that like went around and did a bunch of others for like the first hour. That was just a really great time.
Yeah. People, I mean, you were talking about how they were trying to usher people out, like in Yokohama. This year they were like, we got the secret sauce. We know how
smart.
to get people out right now. Because literally my roommate, Sushi, she like ran off so fast.
Sushi!
I could not find you afterwards. You disappeared. And then, yeah, a group of us were walking around.
Quick
and-
Jiraka cameo roasting.
Yes. Hello. The Eternamax, Eternatus raids were incredible. I was out the door and doing 2 hours of Dynamax battles. I'll let the record show that I do occasionally do Dynamax battles. And Jiraka, I will just say, I was on the podcast before you.
Another local shout out. But
Taraka, where you at?
something else I also really liked was, and this is something I told like all my friends and all the different like chats that I have about Pokemon Go, with Jen and like a lot of the others that I get together and play with, is that watching the final matches in that arena felt exactly like how I would always like see it in the main series games when I was playing growing up. And even as an adult, like, and playing Pokemon Go with like the arena background that it had for Go Battle Weekend, I was like, this is the sickest thing I've ever been a part of. And it feels like everything in my childhood memories of Pokemon is like coming to life right now. So it felt really, really good to be in that stadium. And I was really excited to learn that that's what they're planning on doing next year as well.
And the visuals on the stage were so incredible. Like they had like the Pokemon teams and the typings on there. And I didn't see it, but someone was saying they saw something about shields were on there too. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, like underneath, like pretty much underneath their chair, the floor became like the shield pattern.
Like
Yeah.
when they used it?
Yeah,
or-
when they used the shield.
Oh, I missed that, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and I also saw for VGC, I don't honestly know a lot about how it works. I just have a very base knowledge of it, but the matches, like the floor display, whenever they used one of those like area effects, like Trick Room,
Yeah, I
or
heard
like
about
grassy
that.
terrain or something, the whole like board would also change to reflect that move. Just so cool, like such a cool effect.
Yeah, and TCG, like the cards were sort of all behind them as well when they're on there, so it was pretty sick. To be honest with you, when they like announced that it was going to be in an arena, I was sitting here and be like, I don't really care. Like I was like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, we'll just be watching the thing. Like it didn't really hit me as like something that was cool. But then like actually rocking up was pretty cool. I mean, like we rocked up for Unite, basically. Rocked up. And
Rocked
so we
up.
watched all of Unite, and then we watched all of Go, and then we dipped after that. But it was kind of it was a different vibe watching it all happen live. And also, I mean, me and Debbie would mention this earlier, but also first time that we've ever seen a t-shirt cannon in action. So
yeah.
that's new to us, but that was pretty sick for sure. But
Yeah.
it was cool.
Yeah, it was. In a way, I kind of wish I saw all the battles on the arena, but I had a great view myself, so it was fine. But yeah,
A view a bit lower than Butters' view.
I was gonna say, like, a view, or like, did you have to like get up on a box, or?
Okay, look, that like, maybe they didn't, plan it was going to be in Butters right away, right to cast grand finals. I mean, we obviously didn't know until like the day before. But I think they should invest in a box just in case. I'll tell you this tidbit too. When I was driving over to hang out with you all, I was talking to my mom on the phone, and she's like, "Oh, I watched the grand finals and everything." I sent her the link, and she's like, "Yeah, like I think it's you need to be more like conscious of not sitting down when she's standing. You need to not sit so much when he's standing because it looks really bad." I was like, "What? Where was I sitting?" She's like, "No, you didn't post a photo." I was like, especially knowing me, ain't no way I'm gonna purposely do that in general, or it's going to be on camera. So I was like, "Send me the photo." So she sends me a photo that I posted on Instagram, and I was like, "No, Mom, like I was standing in that photo." Like, I wasn't sitting down. He's literally just that much taller.
Yeah,
But
I was talking to Speedy, and I was like, yeah, Butters is just so tall. Like, if Caleb was
That's true.
casting... Like, Speedy's a pretty tall guy, but I was like, if Caleb was casting with you, Speedy, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
If you were casting with Butters, it would have been fine. But it's just... Because Butters is so tall, the difference between Caleb and Butters was just so amusing. I got a big kick out of that.
yeah, I mean, I'm not like super tall. But I'm 5'8", so like, but it was like Amanda casting with Butters. It looked even more comical, right? Because in the end, around the closing, it was Necra, Rosemary, was standing next to Dupe Snacks, the Unite caster, and even they didn't look that big of a discrepancy, right? And, and Necra's really really petite and shorter than me for sure, and Dupes is taller than me, but. In Butters' discrepancy is even bigger. But I got a bunch of like Instagram DMs from people that don't even follow Pokemon, and they're like, "Bro, like, I get you a box or something, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I know. He's 6'5" on a bad day. Like, what do you want me to do about it, right? Like, I can only do so much." But yeah, no, it was a good time. And honestly, the grand finals was really, really fun because the first year was great, right? We had 10 games, 2 best of 5s. Dancing Rob resets the bracket on game 5.
Was there a tie in that one in the grand finals?
No, there was a tie at the NIC grand finals,
Yeah.
Axon versus Andrew Manharis, but it was a tie on game 5, and then Axon won it, but he was on the winner's side, so Andrew Manharis still had to reset the bracket, so it went to a 6 game in one series, whereas against Dancing Rob, they went to 5 games and another 5 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was super hyped that first year in 2022. But then ever since then, Yokohama and Hawaii, it was a 3-1 from the winner's side, and that's it. Which is, I mean, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Well deserved. But there's something to be said about the bracket reset, which Beelzy Boy was able to do on a 3-1, and then they go all the way to game 5. That is crazy because like that's literally outside of a crazy tie. That is the last game possible in the entire tournament, right? And for the entire season. And it was close. Like, it came down to literally throwing an Ice Beam over Sparkling Aria blind into what comes in.
Yeah.
I think it was a smart play because even if you look at how close it was, I think his Lapras does survive the Power Gem. So he could have just Ice Beam and then tried to get another Ice Beam, but the Astonish might have been too much. It's like, assuming like Paimon comes in with Credilli, right? You could throw the Ice Beam at the Credilli, and this starts to build with another one.
I was waiting to see if he was going to try for a peekaboo because I thought that might be coming. But honestly, big shout out to Patamon because I thought he played those really well. I thought he had a pretty big team comp disadvantage. That Moltres was just so safe into him, and like I talked to a lot of people about like team building prior to this, and I said to everyone like I feel like you have to run a fairy in this meta, otherwise like Mandibuzz and Glaring Moltres are just too safe into you. And I felt like that did show in the grand finals. Like, obviously, Potamon played very well to get that close, but that Moltres was just way too free. And Beelzebub could just, like Pata would play for a shield advantage, but Beelzebub was like, sure, I'll burn a shield, save health on my Moltres, and come out with a ton of energy. Nothing wants to eat a Brave Bird here. And so that Moltres was just very menacing. You know, fingers crossed, maybe we get a giveaway for Moltres. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got like the most like biggest mon that he used, right? Like, he was the signature mon of his world champion win. So, Beelzebub, shout out. Thanks for Galarian Moltres in advance.
Yeah, thank you for letting me draw Galarian Moltres instead of an Eternatus.
Why not both? Why not both?
No. I'm gonna cut that out right now. But yeah, I was definitely cheering for Beelzebub from the beginning because I was like, he's got a bird on like the team. Like, that's what I gotta do. And he used it like expertly because he basically in the first match, Patamon didn't bring the Credilli, and it forced like the power of that Moltres in that game alone forced him to bring it every single time after that. So Beelzebub, no matter what, knew the Credilli was coming in somewhere. And he just didn't, that was his only answer to it. And he just, like, mathematically with precision found out how to work that Moltres right around its biggest counter.
Yeah, I still think the Dene is, like, really good in this meta, but I think because of how people team built, especially around, like, Cantaloupe, Marowak, and all these other, and Credilli everywhere. Credilli was, like, over 75% usage, which I honestly...
72.5 on day one, I think was the number.
Right. And I think it was 77.5 or something on day 2, which is absolutely insane. I mean, day 2 usage is a little bit different because in the Metacham Prime days, like, it was, like, nearly 100 at some points. But on day 1, I don't think I've ever seen a usage that high. Maybe in the Metacham days, I don't know. We'll have to go back and see. Steve might know, but
hang on. This is where I'd be googling.
If we were all in our like homes, this is where Steve would be furiously typing.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
he still got out his phone.
Yeah, Steve's our stats guy. So, anyway, but yeah, absolutely wild. So I get why a lot of people didn't use the Dene, but I feel like the teams are all pretty weird too. You know, like it wasn't like a very set meta, which made it really exciting. And I think that's kind of the beauty of the most recent GBL update being right before NAIC every year, and then there's like NAIC, PJCS, and literally that's it outside like practice tournaments. But yeah, I mean it was a good storyline, and I mean Potamon had a crazy good season.
Professor Tristan has thoughts.
I was just gonna say it was interesting too how the meta shifted since NAIC because like besides like Toadscruel, which like wasn't a big player, but it was fun to see a few people use.
One team?
I think there was a couple
Was
teams.
there-
I saw a couple.
I think there were like 3 Toadscruel at
Three?
least.
Yeah,
Okay.
there was at least a few, and then there was it
Sanhudigo.
Sanhudigo, yeah.
He was running the Toadscruel and the Turtonator, which is wild.
Mad
Apparently he was
lad.
ahead of his time.
Oh yeah, we can talk about the.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting because without really any additions to the meta shifted so much. Like it shifted from Diggersby to Kanto Marowak, and then as a result, the Ghost shifted more from Dusclops to Corsola, and then the big jump in Cradilly also meant that the Fairy shifted from Dedenne to Tinkaton more, which also brought in a little bit more Talonflame. So it was interesting how just from one tournament to the next, and the result of just some time and practice tournaments and people trying to counter the meta, how much shifts we actually saw. And I did like it because I felt like overall there was more neutral play. I mean, we obviously saw some like Talonflame into Shadow Scissor, Talonflame into like Tinkaton or something, but overall I felt like it was a bit more neutral.
Yeah, I really like how, I mean, this meta, and I feel like it's probably going to continue this pattern based on the move update that we saw a preview of at the end of day 2, but like, it's so flexible. Like, there's no point where it ever really feels like it's settled because every big tournament that we have been able to see has had something slightly different about it, which is actually crazy considering the world we used to live in, like of Knocked Out Trevenant Lantern and Metacham like being everywhere. But I think Steve actually has numbers for us live.
Yeah, I mean, I guess speaking of everywhere, the biggest I could find for day 1 Metacham usage was 72.4%.
Wow, that's
Okay,
an
so that's
interesting
like-
number.
That's like exactly the same as Credilli day one
I
usage
think
at
it's
this tournament.
Slightly lower.
Okay.
I think.
0.1.
Yeah.
Point one.
So, it is what it is. But, anyway, yeah. I do think, like, obviously I built a team for this tournament, and I was talking to everyone else, like, how are you feeling with your team into this meta? And I don't think a single person I talked to, like, I talked to so many guys, and they were all, we've got 72.4. Like,
Literally exactly
it's
the
actually
same.
Same number.
That's actually insane. There you go. Well, shout out. Credilli is the brand new Metacham. It's not getting the same. I guess it's had less of a run up than Metacham.
Mm-hmm.
Like Metacham was good for way longer, so people were way more sick of it. But I did think we were going to get a Credilli nerf. But
I feel like it's less like dominant and oppressive as Metacham. Like it's good, it's neutral, it's decently safe into most things, but I feel like it's not doesn't have that same like dominance in matchups that Metacham has.
Yeah, I guess that's sort of why it's being used so much in some sense. I mean, not only does it have a few RPS-y scenarios, which a lot of people were talking about, like, oh, you can't completely ignore RPS. If you built like the perfectly neutral team in this meta for the Worlds, I actually think it's a bad idea. I think you have to be a little bit prepared for some level of hard alignment.
I wonder why you think that.
Yeah,
no reason.
You were talking
That's-
about team building. Maybe you should.
Yeah, so I guess for those that don't know, it's just, I competed in Worlds, and I decided, I think my line was something along the lines of, if I can't win this tournament based on skill, which I don't believe I could, maybe I could win it on luck. And so I built a team based on hard RPS alignment. We're talking Bastion.
Oh,
We're
the
talking
Australian
Wigglytuff.
special.
The Australian special. We're talking Wigglytuff. We needed a fairy in the team, as Tristan said. We had the Gastrodon. We needed that Tinkerton coverage. It was
You're
big
missing
to
the Toadscruel. You need a Toadscruel. It's the real RPS.
I wanted to fit Toadscruel onto the team so bad. I kept coming back to it in the PvP team builder. It was just worse than Gastrodon. It was just constantly. But hey,
Apparently not. I think it actually had better placements than Gastrodon. But I don't know if Gastrodons were outside of your Gastrodon, actually.
yeah, I mean, maybe the problem is that I didn't have the Toadscruel Turtonator core. That's what I was really
You had an
missing.
Incinerate user, right?
Yeah, I had Talonflame. But, it is what it is. I mean, I went 1-2-1-2. I got some wins in there. I did throw on one of them, but it is what it is.
And I was gonna say too, like the one thing I was talking with a few people about too is like comparing to like the Trevenant Noctowl Lickitung days and like the Metacham Lickitung days, is that like during those times it felt like there was a couple Pokemon that were just like so much stronger overall that their usage was high, and there was just like one or two good cores that everyone relied on. But I feel like now there's a lot of Pokemon that, like, yeah, sure, there's still going to be a couple Pokemon that are the strongest, but there's so many Pokemon that are close enough in power level that there's a lot more variety. There's probably 25, 30 Pokemon that are in a similar power level. And that means that there's more opportunities for these meta shifts, with people trying to pick anti-meta picks, and there's more core options. We saw, it wasn't as popular, but we saw like, Arceus Aurelius used the Runavigus at NAIC. A few people, like Eumero, Ashton Ash used it this weekend. We saw some Shadow Dusknoir, like Lyle Jeffs got 5th place with a Shadow Dusknoir. Like, even though it wasn't like as popular as the Dusclops or the Corsola, like it had viability and it did something a little bit different. And so the fact that there are so many viable Mons means there's more diversity, more creativity, and more like chances for the meta to shift tournament to tournament, because there's not just a couple things that are so much better than everything else.
Yeah.
Did you have something?
No, I'm just agreeing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think maybe right after this we can talk about our favorite moveset update tease idea, whatever.
You're gonna make Kaz pick one bird?
I have one already.
Yeah. But what I would say is also, just looking at this tournament, I think it's really impressive what Beelzebub pulled off, because he first 2 years of Worlds, there was no Indian representative. Like there were players that ethnically may be Indian, but none were from the Indian qualifier, from India, stuff like that. Abhinav's probably the closest, because he was like played in the Indian qualifier, but he like qualifies through TPCI's or NA's system. But the first 2 years, none of the Indian players that qualified were able to make it, and then the last year, year 3, was the first time we ever had any Indian player who qualified from that system compete, and that was beautiful. He was the only one. He got fourth, which is really impressive, right? And then this year we have 2, Master Mihir and Beelzeboy, and Beelzeboy got first, which is absolutely, like, you know, Marshall Galdi's average world's run is like impressive, right? With like excluding this year, with a 5th and a 3rd last year, right? Like Beelzeboy's first 2 is even more impressive. And then Master Mihir in his first tournament got 8th, right? Which is like crazy, like an average of like 4th place or something between both players from India. So
and Beelzeboy performing so well is good because it gets an extra qualifying spot for India. So that's one extra person that'll hopefully come. I know a lot of the Indian players either had issues getting here, just had the other commitments or something and couldn't make it. But hopefully with Beelzeboy getting that extra spot for India, hopefully maybe we do see more Indian players next year.
Yeah, I guess it technically worked out the same this year too, right? Because he gave the extra slot for this year because he didn't make it that top 4 from the qualifier this year. But yeah, I talked to Beelzeboy and Master Mihir yesterday in the hotel lobby, and they're like, yeah, actually, we're not even the most consistent players from India. The most consistent player is actually Nava Empire.
Yeah, where's Anacor's boy Nava Empire?
yeah. Well, when they said that, Anacor was like only a few feet away. I was like, Anacor, they're talking about your boy Nava Empire. But you know, he had visa issues, I believe, and I think he's only like 18 or 17 or 18 or 19. I don't know, but definitely under 20. So it's a little bit hard to secure the visa. But Nava Empire was like, I think the only Indian player that qualified through Worlds in both years, back to like last year and this year. But of course, just couldn't make it in either. So that's pretty high praise from 2 of the top 10 players in the world, but so we'll see if all the Nava Empire hype that Anacor's been talking about for the past 2 years
hopefully
lives up to fruition for San Francisco next year. I don't think we also know how many qualification spots there will be for the APAC region, different qualifiers next year.
We have no idea. We have to wait for TPC to announce that, and that usually doesn't get announced until like the spring, I think. Like, it's usually pretty late, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I think like it's, you know, unfortunately it's like a different system, so it is kind of a shame that they have much less spots than NA, EU, LATAM, Oceania even, but I do think that especially Yokai winning last year and then Beelzeboy winning this year, like it really puts a spotlight in those regions, and like just imagine, right? There's 75 invites for North America, right? And not including the cascading invites. What's the total population of India? I think it's actually more than US and Canada combined, right?
Yeah, it's like what, 1.6 billion or something?
Yeah.
So I mean, I know, like, who knows how many play Pokemon Go, but I think it's pretty big there. You know, imagine if there was 75 spots for India. That would be wild, right? But I think it would be really, I mean, I don't care. I think it'd be cool, but you know, it's not my decision. I'm not like I need a root for like NA or my own region and stuff. I actually just want some exciting storylines. I would say shout out to Firestar too. He's the highest finishing American player.
Oh yeah.
At Worlds in a crazy breakout performance. Loudjess got top 5 as well. Technically the highest finishing NA player, but he's from Canada, so you know, I'm not Canadian. But shout out to Loudjess as well.
Well, I think, like, I mean, even if all of the APAC region had 75 spots like we did, like even that would be like really impressive and really show like the quality of that area that we don't get to see except on this stage. Really,
you guys would be screwed.
all the other regions.
We already are screwed.
According to those averages, like we're already doing terribly.
Well, and also I think a lot of us would love to see them have not just more spots, but more opportunities to compete.
Yeah.
Because most of those regions, they have like one tournament. I mean, it's technically like 2 tournaments because it's 2 stages, but it's just a one-off. And it's like if you have one bad day, one bad meta read, a couple misplays, maybe you're busy that day. Like, that's your chance for the year gone. And it's like, I would love to have those regions have at least like maybe 2 or 3 opportunities this season to be able to compete and qualify, because there are some very good players from those regions. But again, when you just have one chance, like, the best players might not always make it. And the other thing I wanted to point out is, I assume, do you guys know if Beelzebub competes in the Anacor's like APAC circuit?
Yeah, sometimes.
I would think he does. But yeah, shout out to Anacor, because ever since he made that circuit, APAC, the Asian players have won 2 back-to-back world championships. So
Don't credit
Don't.
no, I mean they're very good, but I do think that the extra show 6 practice does go a long way.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I forgot what else. Oh, yeah. And you're saying how, not a lot of opportunities, right? You have one bad day, or if you can't make it, or you qualify both years and your visa doesn't go through, right? Like, there's so many things, right, that could prevent some of these players from, various regions,
right?
Like, from coming.
If you that too, like if they had some qualifiers earlier in this year, then some people would know they were qualified earlier and could have more time and more attempts to get their visa. But because all these APAC tournaments are so late in the season, they're like, a lot of them, they don't know they're qualified till April, May, even June. And that's such a short turnaround until Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him ask me here yesterday, and he was like, yeah, I honestly don't care about any GBL update except for the March one, because that's the only one that matters for me. Like, he was like, Beelzebub plays a lot of GBL, so he might like it, but, like, he's like, I really don't care. I'm big on Show 6, so I'm just waiting for what March happens. Like, I don't care what happened in this most recent one. I will say, too, a funny story about Anacor as well. Is,
he still has his hair?
Oh, yeah, he still has hair. No, he has agreed to shave it, right? We'll talk more about that in the next episode, too, but he predicted... out of his 10 players, he needed 80% to make day 2, and looking back on it, he got 20%. So, he found the missing 20% and all the missing hair. And I looked at his, top 10 out of, like, by choice if no one was drafting, and he still wouldn't have made it. He actually only said 9 names on the podcast, but even then, it still wouldn't have been enough. Because he forgot one, I guess. But I will say, it was Beelzebub versus Hard Jeff. And I think it was on the winner side. It wasn't. Oh no! It was. It was
losers.
Well, no, I know, but they played first on the winner's side, and then Beelzebub's one that knocked Hard Jeff down.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
Yeah, and then they played again as the last series on day 2 in the losers finals.
Yeah.
And but going on the winner side things too, I was like, oh, who you rooting for, right? Because he's a big Hard Jeff fan, right? Like he's mentioned Hard Jeff so many times when he was on the podcast. Well, he's like scrimming with him, all this stuff, saying he's like one of the best players in the world, maybe even the best at certain points of the podcast. I was like, oh, you're rooting for Hard Jeff, right? And he's like, nah, bruv, I ain't rooting for Beelzebub. I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like I was like, I thought you're a big fan of Hard Jeff. He's like, yeah, man, Hard Jeff he's a day 1 homie. He's like, but Beelzebub, he's like the ancestral homie from like hundreds of years ago. I gotta go back to my roots. I was like, dude, this man just hopping on any bandwagon he can get. And obviously, like, Beelzebub does beat him in the winner's side. And then in the losers finals, after Beelzebub beats Hard Jeff, there's a few Indian players, but as well as like some other APAC players that are friends with Beelzebub, like rushing towards the stage. And then you see in the corner of your eye, Anacor run up there too, like, bro, I'm here, like, I've been waiting for you too. And I was like, dude, what the heck? I was like, Hard Jeff better notice that one, so he'll remember for next time. But yeah, what a great performance from him too, because he's never made a day 2 at Worlds. Like, he's been one of our best players in the circuit, but it seems like Worlds is kind of like his kryptonite, which feels bad as a Worlds competitor because you're working all year for this, and then you just don't do as well you want at Worlds. So really happy for him to get that 3rd place trophy, and he got his teammate Corlash got 4th place as well. It was also a big year for Brazilians because I'm pretty sure historically, I actually don't know if any Brazilian has made day 2 in the past 3 years. Oh, no. Zardy has. Outside of Zardy, I don't think anyone else has made day 2. In the past, maybe what was the other guy that qualified from Brazil that first year? It was with Zardy. I always forget his name. I think he made. But anyway, since
Jeremy Noda?
No. It was I'm blanking a little bit. I don't know if he's still
on Steel Trap.
I'm blanking a little bit. Anyway, he's a super nice guy, but predominantly it's just Zardy, but any other Brazilian just has not made day 2. from LATAM, it's a lot of it just happened to be like 7-Eleven players instead. But this year was not the year for 7-Eleven. It was the year for the Brazilians and the LNDS players and Tussy players. So happy to see them do well too, because you don't see that very often.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think that this also continues on the storyline of NA perhaps being overhyped in general, because they are not performing well at Worlds, man. They are pretty low numbers in day 2.
You want to You want to look at Oceania right now? What about Oceania this year?
We got two in, which isn't like as good as
for top 32.
Yeah, top 32.
Are we counting Jins?
He's on the Oceanic leaderboard, you know.
So you claim him now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Even if we can say one. No, but I think that North America is always talking about how they've got the best players in the world.
Wait, hold on. Don't lump everyone in North America with that, right? I don't say that, right? Because I actually didn't. You know who did really poorly in the draft? Tristan, because he drafted almost all NA players. I actually drafted I think I only drafted 2 NA players out of my 10. But I actually don't believe that. I do think that recency bias and also exposure to seeing a lot of people on broadcast does sway things. Because you see out of pocket, well, even some of the other players too, like Marto, right, who's not NA but still in the TPCI circuit, it makes you think that they are really good, and they are, right? They really are, but. World's just a different beast, and NA has not performed that well in the past few years.
Yeah, they didn't make top 4 this year. They didn't make top 4 last year, and I think that is a good point in the recency bias and you actually get to see thing, because who really outperformed this year? The Latin American players. Who gets no broadcasts at all? The Latin American players. Who also performed insanely well this year? The Asian players. Who else doesn't get broadcast at all? The Asian players. So I feel like the broadcasts are really just missing a massive swath of the real strength in the competitive Pokemon Go community, and I think that Worlds is sort of showing up what people think is actually
it creates a bias for sure, because you just see those players doing well consistently and you think that that's all there is. Not everyone is looking at the Draco Viz or looking at the numbers coming out of the APAC tournaments, so people just don't know. People just don't know because it doesn't have that same level. So, I mean, hopefully having 2 APAC champions 2 years in a row will help with that a little bit.
I doubt it.
I still believe.
Maybe something to be said about the APAC grassroots tournaments and stuff, because I do know Yokohama was top 3 was all NA, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe we need Rubrik's Mastodon retired, but I think a lot of APAC players were hey, we gotta take Show 6 a lot more seriously, right? Because they don't have as much. Maybe they were taking it seriously, but they just didn't have opportunities, right? They don't have time to practice at other tournaments outside their qualifier stuff. So a lot of them might have just not done as much Show 6. So a lot of them definitely put that work in over the past 2 years, and you can see it pay off. I think we have a minute left. So any final words or thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing just briefly is the move update announced at Worlds was super hype again. Everyone in the crowd was going crazy. It was a really cool time. I had to go back later and rewatch that bit of the broadcast because I wanted to actually hear what the commentators even said, because I could not hear a word.
I couldn't hear what I was saying.
That was super hype. But yeah, let's just say maybe 1 or 2 Pokemon that we're excited for.
Let's just do one.
For me, Empoleon is one I think is going to be really fun.
Bastion buff, brother. This is the time. But yeah, I don't know. Good to see everyone. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you in the next episode where we'll talk about it all properly, I guess. But
you know what beats Bastion? Firo, baby! Firo with Drill Run. 2 shots of Bastion.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that SmackDown rebuff though, I don't know if we get to two Drill Runs, but
we'll find out.
Optimism.
I'll find out.
I'll find out too from the other ends. Yeah. What's the saying? Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm killing a lot of birds with many stones.
You're not killing no Empoleon with your stones.
Hey, no water fast attack is not too bad for Bastion, but yeah, you're probably right. Anyway, I don't want to steal Steve's answer, but this is the best.
Come on, give us something else.
I stole Caleb's answer.
Yeah.
So why do you not give us something else?
I'm stealing it back. No, I really will say it. realistically, it's not going to win tournaments or maybe wins one. It's still not that good, but it has play again, and that's all I'm happy about. In a dragon meta, nice. But a lot of the dragons all have like all this fighting coverage. It's kind of annoying, so we'll see how that goes. Charm did get nerfed sizably, so or changed. It does a lot less damage, I think, but it generates energy more. So.
All right, but what's a Pokemon, non-Bastion Pokemon that you're excited for?
It's a good question. I don't know. It's a lot of weather ball buffs and everything. It was. I'm kind of blinking. You know, I don't know if this is like a stupid answer or not, but like, Body Slam got like buffed again, or it's kind of better in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Probably some Body Slammer that I'm not thinking about. Maybe like
Wilma, baby.
I was thinking about like Predator, but maybe Wilbur. I don't know. I really haven't thought about too much because a lot of the energy changes you really have no idea.
Yeah, there's so many question marks right now because some of the fast moves and a lot of the charge moves we don't know the energy, and like there's a few that are like obvious, like basically a lock, like Dragon Breath. That's pretty clear cut, and there's others that like you can make a decent guess, but there's some that are just big question marks, and like people are talking about them, and there's maybe especially for the charge moves, like 10 energy range that they could even be in, and we'll have to wait and see what happens when the new season comes around.
Yeah, I guess my cop-out answer is not a Pokemon, but I'm excited for the 45 seconds switch timer instead of 50 seconds.
Yeah, that's going to be big.
5 seconds will make actually a sizable amount of difference in a lot of matches, so even if you don't like Bastion, like, Bastion's not going to be locked into your, like, Fearow for as long. Or as Kaz would say, your Bastion won't be locked into my Fearow for so long.
Exactly.
But, anyway, that's going to wrap it up for us. Kind of a shorter episode, but we just want to give our initial thoughts for Afterworlds, especially when we have all of us here. If you want our merch, link down below, because I'm not eating a pepper anytime soon, so get the merch down below. But yeah, thanks all for tuning in, and we'll catch you all in the next episode. Bye. A shout out to Debbie Pebble too for letting us borrow her equipment and her mic.
Love you, Debbie.
I made it. I didn't make it to the draw.